To Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, so this reading is going to be about Ukraine funding. Moderates pitched pared down bipartisan spending deal for Ukraine and border security. Representatives Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania and Jared Golden of Maine on Sunday urged their House colleagues to back their pared down proposal for Ukraine aid and security of the border. They were basically saying that Ukraine needs the money and we need to get this thing passed right away. The moderates proposed reduced spending from $60 billion to Ukraine to $49 billion, cutting out humanitarian aid for Israel and Ukraine, and adding strict remain in Mexico border policies. And that these changes are necessary in order to get the votes that they need to pass. And their argument is the Senate is going to pass anything the House passes themselves, as long as it's sort of in line with what their bill was. So in other words, if the House Republicans and some Democrats can pass a reduced spending bill, the Senate will agree to it because it's something that comes out of the House. It shows you how dysfunctional the House is. Despite the compromises, Fitzpatrick said the potential deal could likely get the supermajority support it needs in the House if it reaches a floor vote and passes the Senate. In other words, if Johnson refuses to bring it to the floor, they could have a vote, and as long as like 2/3, I think it is, of the House votes to hear it, it'll make it to the floor and they can vote on it. So this is somewhat in line with what I was seeing before, that Johnson doesn't want to bring this thing to a floor vote, but something gets passed and maybe it's a reduced, where they would pass it, but it's reduced numbers. And that way the Republicans can claim some type of victory or something like along those lines. And it gets the pressure off of them. Now, mind you, Putin's not playing anymore. So there's going to be some Republicans that are running really, really scared right now. Just saying. If you want to learn more, go to Tarot of the Seven Seas. My video that's going up on Sunday night has a reading on Putin, what's up for Putin next, and the messages he's sending. So that's what I'm talking about with this. But right now, let's look at this Ukraine funding bill. What's the energy around this proposed reduction in it? Does this give it a chance to get through the House? Entertainment purposes only. We have the Magician. It's, trying to create something, trying to get something through here. And they've reimagined a smaller version of that funding and took out humanitarian aid, because heaven forbid we be humanitarians around here, as a way to appease the Republicans, who all they're all about is a pound of flesh to their enemies, whoever those might be. Crossed with the High Priestess. So you've got the number 1 and the number 2 cards as we begin this new journey. We have a new proposal. You really should consider it. And this is the High Priestess is the most Jewish card in the deck. So this, they'll say it's to help Ukraine, but really it's like you got to help Israel here. That's what's going to message with the Republicans. And it gives them some talking points, how they're not giving away the farm to Ukraine, and there's border policy stuff with Mexico underneath there. Underneath it all is the Five of Cups. Kind of the disappointment. Again, it's knocking down support amounts. And it might be the House is willing to talk about it more if they knock even more off of it. But it's disappointing that they even have to pare it down even more. But I think that's kind of the path forward that they have to see. Now, maybe Johnson doesn't support this. Could also be Johnson doesn't support it, and they have to get 60% of the vote to get this thing through. So we'll see how that happens. And maybe their colleagues don't support it either. In the past, you got the Lover's card. This is actually a bipartisan bill that passed the Senate, and now moderates in the House are trying to use bipartisanship to get this thing through the House. I have no doubt the Democrats will support it to some degree. The hard part is to get the Republicans to support it, because Putin has told them that he doesn't want them to support it, and way too many of them are members of the Putin faction of the House. Current situation is the Ace of Wands. However, it's a strong offer. It's an out for a lot of these folks, and it'll probably gain some momentum. Now, it could also just be that Mike Johnson takes the big beatdown stick and says, there is no way we're taking this up, and we're not taking it to a vote. And they could try and put it to the floor vote, and they may not get the votes. They may be disappointed with the lack of support from the GOP on this. The overarching energy is the Page of Swords. It's like, I don't know how long these two have been in the House. It's kind of like here's a first effort, and I'm not saying it's a good effort or a bad effort, but it's not a King of Swords, it's a Page of Swords. They chopped a little bit off, and maybe they want more chopped off before they'll accept it. But hey, maybe we can chop a little bit of this off and that'll be acceptable to people. Or maybe this could just be, hey, we've reduced it and that makes it better. Because it's about messaging, about coming up with an idea and paring down the money. And that between these two, they might be able to get this idea to pass through here. Out comes the Two of Wands. You go from the Ace of Wands to the Two of Wands. It has some traction. I can't shake the feeling that the GOP is just going to try and kill it, but I think they're on the right path with it. So let's take a look. It may not be this one in there. I'll make sure I don't get the cards in the same spot. See, look at that. I'm shuffling cards. All right. Will a reduced funding bill, like has been suggested, pass the House? Say, in the next 2 weeks. Yeah, I think their 2-week vacation is just about over. I think they come back on the 28th. They come back on Wednesday. All right. Will some version like this be passed in the next 2 weeks? 4-carder. Looking at the money, evaluating. Possible. It's possible. Things moving forward. Fighting from a position of strength. Wheel of Fortune. Star card. All indications is yes. I think that as they're working on the budgets and fighting over the budgets, trying to get the budgets done, getting the budgets moved forward and such. And I do think that the budgets will probably get done. I think this will be included with the budgets. My answer is yes. I think it will get through. I think they're going to look at the money even more and pare it down a little bit more as they struggle for the votes here. But I do think it's going to go through. And the star card underneath it kind of indicates that for me. So will it go through? Yeah, I think it's going to go through. It's going to take a few weeks, though. I don't think it's going to go through the first time around. There's got to be a lot of negotiations coming down. And they're doing it against the backdrop of the budgets. So there's all these competing priorities here. All right. What do I want to ask? Well, we can ask about... I want to ask about the Putin wing in the House. What's going on with the Putin faction in the House of Representatives? What's happening with the Putin faction? Are they under orders not to pass this thing? Because that's what the vibe is with Johnson. And Putin's been sending messages out. Are the Putin factions. What's going on with them in the House? The Tower. They're worried. They're really worried. Their lives are being turned upside down here. You know, between this funding bill and other bills coming up, their Biden impeachment not working. There's hard times coming for the Putin faction, unwilling sacrifices. Some of them are just going to say some stuff that's really out there. You know, almost basically praising Putin and praising anti-American ideals. They're so, you know, kind of in a way, they're so focused on IVF right now. It's like, you got budgets to worry about. Stop signing initiatives to get rid of IVF and start working on the budget and start working on the funding of the Ukraine. Justice card. Oh, some of them are probably also getting target letters, and that's bringing him down too. Pardon me for a second. And we're back. We have justice underneath there, bringing things down. Hanged man. You know, I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I think some members of the Putin wing, they're starting to get target letters, and they're getting investigations, and things are being revealed to them. I think there's some actual panic going on here. In the past, the Seven of Wands, they've been able to fight off things like this, but things are coming. Something's changed. Legally, something's changed, and their butts are hanging out to dry. So there might be a lot of distractions that are going to happen as they're trying to muddy the waters with this. Some are going to be leaving. Resigning positions, leaving, maybe announcing they're not running for re-election, trying to stay ahead of these of the justice card here. Oh, this is wild. This is not where I was expecting this to go. I was going to ask how, well, I asked about what the energy was like, and that's what it's like. Overall, you got the Fool card. Foolish decisions that they've made are impacting, that they made in the past are now impacting them now. And they're looking the fools for where they are. Whether this is the IVF thing or target letters or something like that, doing things that they shouldn't have done, basically. They're being held to account. It's money and health related. Bribes, campaign finance, funding. What's going on with these folks? Okay, so sorry for the heavy sighs. It could be with the budgets. Okay, so this could be that the budgets are coming up and they're willing to shut the government down. They don't mind taking the blame for this. They've been fighting over the budgets, and it's almost like when the vote comes, they're walking away from the vote. It's a foolish thing to do, but they think they're going to strong arm folks into it. And to them, it's like, if you want to make an omelet, you got to cut some eggs, because we want the budget done our way. And they're supposed to have the budget done at a certain time frame, and they haven't done it. Of course. And then there's always Trump, who probably thinks that if you shut the government down, that somehow the court cases stop, which isn't the case. That's one translation for this. That one came pretty easily. It's also, there could be something that's going to start bringing them down, making them willing sacrifices, involving money and the fighting that they're doing. If this was IVF, this could be the backlash from the recent Alabama Supreme Court case that's getting people now looking differently at the state's abortion rights and the Republicans' backing of it. In the past, the Republicans have said, yeah, we want this. We want these no abortions. And now that they've got it, they're starting to find all the unintended consequences that are happening. And it's going to start driving voters away, because it was a foolish thing that they supported. And now there's a whole slippery slope of things coming down. In this case, women are going to hold them to account for their choices and taking away their rights. And you're going to see campaign donations drying up and funding for them drying up, because it's about women's health issues at this point. And this is going to be about their the Supreme Court in Alabama driving all of this. So I think they're getting the double whammy. Maybe it's not necessarily that they're being held to account by Putin. Now, if this was a Putin reading, I would say some of them are about to fall and be made an example of, because they haven't fought. They took Putin's cause, but some of them have left the cause, which is a foolish thing to do, because Putin didn't say you could leave. And the Queen of Swords, which came up in my Putin reading, is, and you're going to pay the price for this, and this could be a health price or a wealth price that's going to happen, because that's Putin's form of justice. So it could be any one of those three, all of those three, none of those three. Take the one you like the best. Any way you slice it, things aren't looking real hot for the Putin faction of the Republican Party. And I love that for them. May they have the day that they deserve. We'll see. Again, keep an eye out on the news over the next few weeks or month, because Putin's sending messages and he's starting to act on those messages. And he does not mind at all breaking some eggs to make an omelet, because it'll bring the other folks in line, and that's what he's counting on. So lots of interesting stuff coming up. Anyways, thank you for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you for your likes and your shares and your comments and everything you do to feed the YouTube algorithm, so that my video makes it out to a wider audience. To folks just discovering this channel recently or for the first time, welcome. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.